scandalous handling of patients at the Mario Clinic, which has raised a lot of dust, has resulted to its shutting down by the Senior Divisional Officer for Wuri, following the instruction from the Minister of Public Health for the non-respect of the 20th April 2020 decree on the creation and functioning of specialized centers to take charge of COVID-19 patients. In this newscast, some Cameroonians see the face masks as one of the safest means against the coronavirus and appeal to the decision by the Senior Divisional Officer for Funzi to sanction anyone caught not respecting this measure, which is one of the proposed preventive measures by the government against coronavirus. Also coming up in this newscast, we shall be having testimony of an ace Cameroonian journalist who lived through the 20th of May 1984, which just like the upcoming National Day was also cancelled. His survey of the event will be coming up in a bit. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us on the 6 p.m. newscast on Spectrum Television. I am Catherine KONE. We'll begin the news in education. The calendar of official examination for the current academic year in Cameroon has been set for the months of July and August 2020. It has been reviewed today in Yaoundé at the end of the weekly interministerial committee meeting to monitor government's response strategy against coronavirus pandemic. The meeting chaired by the Prime Minister and Head of Government Joseph Diongouti through a video conference. It was equally announced that the 2020-2021 academic year for primary and secondary school is due to start on the 5th of October 2020 and equally on the 5th of October for the higher education. It should be noted or recalled that schools were temporarily shut down to contain the spread of coronavirus in the country. And on to the nation's capital, as part of government's effort to revive the economy badly hit by the coronavirus pandemic, Cameroon, amongst other measures, set aside funds to assist essential enterprises. This and other were disclosed last night at a press briefing in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, jointly chaired by the Minister of Communication, Minister of Health, and equally Minister of Finance. The aim was to enlighten national public opinions on the additional COVID-19 measures prescribed last April 30th, 2020. Details with Emmanuel Kenjisi.
In this press briefing, Minister Emmanuel René Sadi reminded the public that the additional 19 measures passed last April 30th by the Prime Minister fall within the framework of the implementation of the National Response Strategy against the COVID-19 pandemic in Cameroon. The communication boss emphasized that these additional measures are meant to maintain a judicious balance between health safety and that of safeguarding the socio-economic vitality of Cameroon.
The economic consequences of the crisis are likely to affect employment and therefore household income. Fortunately, in our country, the timeliness and adequacy of the response measures taken by the government have so far preserved most of the jobs and protected the purchasing power of the population.
Minister René Sadi further explains that despite the efforts so far, the current crisis has, however, exposed the cash flow of companies to adverse tensions which are likely to weigh on the economy, reason why the President prescribed softening the measures earlier enforced. He also specified that all categories of businesses will benefit from a special support by the government.
It should be specified that all categories of businesses, whether large, medium, or small size, will benefit from these measures. It is by way of illustration the case of the allocation of a special envelope of 25 billion francs CFA to clear the stock of value-added tax credits awaiting reimbursement, which benefits all these companies without exception.
It was also an occasion where both the public health and finance ministers took questions from the press. Mr. Louis-Paul Motaze applauded the vital contributions of the private sectors, adding that some enterprises will benefit from the first quota of 15 billion set aside for them. The financial boss also reassured that salaries will not be cut. On his part, the health minister revealed that Airports are equipped to test arriving passengers who are obliged to present their COVID-19 test certificates. Dr. Manauda Malashi further disclosed that schools may not resume in June if the pandemic worsens. He also revealed that after conducting laboratory tests, the coronavirus herbal remedy of Archbishop Samuel Kleda is entitled to government grants for further development.
And in the reports coming up next, Emmanuel Kenjisi gives us details of the communique signed by the senior divisional officer from Fundi threatening to sanction anyone caught not respecting preventive measures imposed by the government to contain the spread of coronavirus. It should be noted that the communique will be respected, or it begins today in the nation's capital. Yaoundé, his report.
2 weeks after the government of Cameroon relaxed barrier measures earlier imposed to check COVID-19, most Yaoundé inhabitants are gradually neglecting to wear their face masks. In taxis, bars, and other leisure spots around town, a stranger may think coronavirus has been defeated. Against this backdrop, the senior divisional officer of Fundi, in a release signed yesterday, May 12, has meted sanctions to defaulters of the COVID-19 measures. On his part, a transporter trade union president has hailed the SDO's decision and promised to sanction his colleagues who won't comply with these measures. I warmly appreciate the measures taken by the SDO of Fundi to punish those who will fail to wear their face mask on board a vehicle. I noticed that most passengers and drivers alike were already neglecting this measure. We have urged drivers to always wear their mask. However, those who will fail to comply with these measures will leave us with no choice. In the same vein, the president of bar owners in Yaoundé has indicated his readiness to enforce these measures in bars.
For me, it's a good decision that the GO took about the bar owners. For me, it's a good decision. But we are asking for the GO to work small, because we have to sensibilize all our members that they are obliged to respect all the measures that the government has taken.
The SDO's release will go into effect tomorrow, May 14th, with systematic controls and checks across Yaoundé. Motorbike riders and passengers, including public transport vehicles, found breaking these rules will see their properties impounded.
In the same line, Yaoundé city dwellers have reacted positively to the set orders of the senior divisional officer for Fundi. Details of this with Violet Sekou.
Following the press release, who warns against citizens who won't respect barrier measures in public areas, notably bars, nightclubs, taxis and others, will be severely sanctioned. However, this initiative has been highly appreciated by some citizens in Yaoundé.
Bon, ce qui est vrai, c'est que personne ne pourra faire opposition à la note gouvernementale.
What's sure is no one can oppose the government. It will certainly disturb some people who go to nightclubs and bars with face masks in their pockets. But with time, they'll get used to and get along. With the notice from the divisional officer, they'll have no choice.
J'espère que ceux, comme je vous l'ai dit tantôt, ceux qui tardent encore à s'aligner pourront finalement mettre le masque.
Le cache-nez reste le dernier moyen, le seul moyen présentement pour réellement lutter contre la pandémie. Alors,
face mask is the last option we use to fight this pandemic. So let's use it since it's the only means to stop the spread. Let's not wait until we fall sick before looking for a cure.
Pour commencer à chercher, autant mieux déjà se préserver, et c'est le seul moyen de prévention.
Que dit que cette décision-là est la bienvenue, parce que on ne peut pas.
This decision is welcome because we can't encourage people in public areas without a face mask. Because once contaminated, it will be a catastrophe.
Sinon, les autres sont contaminés, puis ça sera la catastrophe.
Nevertheless, the sensitization and call for responsibility by each and every citizen hasn't fallen on deaf ears so far, as the general public tries to respect these hygiene measures.
Bringing you back here in the nation's economic capital, traders at the Sandaga markets under the Douala 1 municipality have been sensitized on the compulsory wearing of face masks. This message was delivered by the senior divisional officer for Vori, who visited the market. Today, details with Ajara Ali.
Oh, mon ami, sors du marché, tu ne portes pas le masque, tu es dangereux pour... Tu vois, lui là, le masque,
venez. Avancez comme ça. Avancez.
La prochaine...
It was under this scenario, taking the bull by the horns, that the divisional officer for Wuri, Benjamin Butu, cautioned traders at the Sandaga market on the importance of wearing of the face mask during these periods of the coronavirus pandemic. Before, we have the habit of wearing our face mask, but I see with time we have abandoned. Let me remind you, the wearing of face mask is obligatory. He who fails to wear face mask will be punished. Moving from one shop to another, the message was simple as he addressed and sensitized the crowds on the dangers of the disease, with Cameroon recording moving towards 2,000 cases. However, the wearing of face masks remain obligatory to all Cameroonians, as highlighted by the SDO. Restrictive measures by government does not mean the health of Cameroonians should be compromised, with government under the Ministry of Public Health calling all Cameroonians to strictly observe preventive measures.
And the Mario Clinic has been shut down by the Senior Divisional Officer for Wuri. Following the Minister of Public Health directives, the clinic has been at the heart of several controversy over the handling of patients whom they claim to have died or contracted the coronavirus. Details with John Paul Sama.
The Mario Clinic has been at the center of a good number of purported scandals over the past few days. This lady is claiming that her son was said to have coronavirus and later told that it was a heart attack which killed him, whereas he was buried the same day without the necessary protocols followed, which was hard for the family to bear after having spent over $1 million francs CFA. These and other cases which have sparked wide controversies on the clinic's handling of said COVID-19 cases and the non-respect of the 20th April decree on the creation and functioning of specialized centers to take charge of these patients. And to this effect, following the minister's directives, the senior divisional officer for Wuri proceeded to shutting the doors of the said clinic.
I mean to apply the measures of the Ministry of Health. And I think that it is the section who tell me that I come to close this clinic. And it's why I come here to make this job. The measure is that when the minister decides that we can come to open, we will come to open again. It is not me who decides. I take the arrêté because the minister tell me that I can have to do this thing. Patients have been going to the other center. No patients here.
Some of the staff who showed up couldn't have access to the clinic, but the management are keeping their heads above water, clinging to the fact that they work following the laid down norms. I'm acting as a Republican and not opposing the decision of the minister to shut down the clinic. That's why when the senior divisional officer got here, the place was empty, because I followed my protocol in the profession and made sure that all of my patients are transferred to other clinics in Douala. One of the motivating factors which also led to the shutting down of this clinic was the reported sum of 6 million francs CFA taxed to a patient, which the health minister didn't get the reason behind. The Syndicate of Medical Professionals, SINAMEC, on their part, say they find no irregularities in what the clinic sent to them and are surprised by its shutting down without prior investigations.
The Douala 1 and 2 municipality have received COVID-19 kits for the fight against coronavirus in their different municipality. Details with Ajara Ali.
The informal sector has always played a prominent role when it comes to income generation activities of the Douala 1 Council. A reason why the Mayor Lenge Malapa thought it wise to assist this sector during these difficult periods of the COVID-19 crisis.
Nous les aidons à poursuivre une activité génératrice de revenus, mais également
we are assisting them to continue in the income generation activities and also to continue the fight against the spread of the pandemic.
Contre cette pandémie, et vous avez vu que
this gift that consists of 10 motorbikes, 40 table umbrellas for the call box operators alongside COVID-19 kits was received with joy and satisfaction. We thank the Mayor and his team for this equipment. For 7 years, we have been in difficulties to carry out our activities. The city mayor cautioned these beneficiaries to make this gift profitable to their day-to-day activities and equally call on them to keep barrier measures against the spread of coronavirus. From the Douala 1 Council, the Mayor of the Douala 2 Council, Maître Denis Fampo, equally donated some goods of basic necessity to the Muslim community under her area of command.
A non-governmental organization in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, has sensitized volunteers who are ready to stand a fight against the spread of coronavirus in the country. They were taught on how to produce hydroalcoholic hand sanitizer and equally received sanitary equipment to intensify against coronavirus. Details with Violet Sekum.
During this workshop aimed at sensitizing volunteers by ASOL at the Vorada English Catholic Hall to help fight the propagation of the deadly corona pandemic, these volunteers have been taught on how to produce hydroalcoholic sanitizers for home use and equally receive sanitary equipment of face mask, hand washing soap, buckets and hydroalcoholic sanitizers to foster the fight against COVID-19. One of the volunteers appreciates this gesture.
I'm really grateful to Aswa because all what I discovered since yesterday is like very rich to myself. Like I know how to take care of myself, how to even wash my hands, because I discovered that washing your hands is not that easy as we thought. We just put your hands, you just do anything that you want, but that's not what I discovered here. It's all a procedure that we have to take before washing our hands. After this, I'm supposed to go to my quarter. That's what I would do. Go to my quarter, meet, sensitize all my people, that is youth, old people, children, kids, adults, and discuss with them how to take care of themselves, how to wash their hands, how to even do their own hygiene solution in the house. That's what I have to do.
Reverend Father Lucas Tassi, who's also one of the coordinators, throws more light on the aims of this workshop.
This workshop is meant for two major things. First, to give knowledge on certain issues regarding the COVID-19, and then to send these trained volunteers to the field in their various quarters so that they can sensitize their fellow brothers and sisters and share with them the little protective kits that we have prepared. This will not stop there. We are going to continue this mission until we make sure that the last person with the virus is in good health.
This good gesture didn't end at the level of the volunteers, but they also did an outreach at the Etouameki, where inhabitants also benefited from the sensitization and sanitary equipment, notably hand sanitizers, hand washing soap and buckets, to help fight the propagation of the deadly corona pandemic.
Staying with you there in Yaoundé, chicken sales at the Mfunzi market has been greatly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, as vendors say it's due to the lack of activities and occasions which were stopped by the government to bar the spread of coronavirus in the country. Once more, Violet Sekum.
Since the COVID-19 crept into the country and affected almost every business, so is the poultry business at the Mfunzi market, where most of these vendors lament most orders from restaurants and hotels drastically dropped due to the confinement to stop the propagation of COVID-19.
Depuis l'avènement de COVID-19, nous passons de très mauvais moments parce que
the outbreak of COVID-19 in the country, we are going through hard times because restaurants closed and people weren't frequenting the markets due to confinement. As we closed markets a little earlier, we weren't selling that much. Even now, things are still difficult.
Les gens ne venaient plus nous faire les achats. Nous ne vendons pas. Jusqu'à présent, là, ça ne donne pas encore comme d'habitude.
Les gens disent, beaucoup de personnes disaient que le poulet était moins cher. C'était vrai parce que tout était fermé.
Most people say chicken is cheap. It's true because of confinement. Hotels, restaurants were temporarily shut down. So that alone affected us a lot.
Beaucoup dans notre activité.
Nevertheless, smiles are slowly but surely coming back to their faces, since some barrier measures were uplifted and prices of chickens are gradually coming back to normalcy.
Than 6 days, Cameroonians would have been filling ceremonial grounds around the country to celebrate the National Day, but for the second time this will not be the case, as the 20 May celebrations have been cancelled for health reasons. Our reporter John Paul Sama spoke with someone who lived through the first cancellation in 1984 and put together this report.
Fine moves like these ones will not be on display this year, as for the second time the National Day celebrations will not take place, not because of security reasons, but health. The rapid spread of the coronavirus has ensured that just like in 1984, there will be no gathering for the 20th May. Anani Rabier Binzi, an ace journalist, takes us through the circumstances which he lived when the National Day wasn't celebrated 36 years ago. Following that tentative coup d'etat in April, the perpetrators flee, with Colonel Sally amongst them, passing through some areas of the country. But the law finally caught up with him and others. Before any other thing, the territory had to be secured, with the National Day festivities suffering a cancellation because even those who had died had not yet been buried. The military tribunal in Balmayo, after that event, was still dishing out verdicts. As a result of all this, the head of state cancelled the 20th May celebrations in 1984. On April 22, 2020, the Minister of State, Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic, Ferdinand Gongo, announced in a press release that the need to respect the measures prescribed by the government has pushed the head of state to cancel the public celebrations for this year.
In our foreign page, a fire broke out early Tuesday in an overcrowded camp houses nearly 1 million Rohingya refugees in southern Bangladesh, leaving many homeless. VOA reports.
A quiet Tuesday morning suddenly ended when rapidly spreading flames broke out after a cooking gas cylinder exploded in the massive and overcrowded Rohingya camp in southern Bangladesh. Moments later, flames raced through neighboring shanties where residents live and work in makeshift homes and shops.
My house is completely burnt. There's nothing left. I was out of the house when the fire broke out. I can't even go home due to the fire. I can't find my children. I don't understand how it happened. I can only see that many houses are burning in front of me.
Witnesses say firefighters arrived quickly, but the blaze managed to damage more than 600 houses.
Probably the fire started from the explosion of a gas cylinder. A total of 312 makeshift houses have been completely destroyed by fire. Another 362 houses were partially damaged. We are collecting more information. We will let you know all later.
According to VOA's Moazem Hossein Shakil, who was on the scene, about 20 people suffered injuries, with at least 6 reported to be in critical condition. Duzes said those affected by the fire will receive assistance.
Foods are being provided to the fire victims. Accommodations are being arranged for them. This is how we are doing our responsibility.
Local residents tell VOA the use of gas cylinders to prepare food is a relatively new concept for Rohingyas. Officials said it was not immediately clear what caused the explosion. For Moazem Hossein Shakil in Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh, Bejan Hamdard, VOA News.
And that is all for the 6 p.m. newscast, on Spectrum Television. Wishing you a blessed day in company of our program. Till we meet again. Good night.